While rules are primarily put into place to ensure safety and fair play, sometimes they slip into pure absurdity. Making up a significant portion of the athletic pool, gymnasts have to play by somewhat the same rules as their counterparts. Still, there are certain rules that are unique to gymnastics and, understandably, hard to digest. Let's dive into, pun intended, some obscure rules that gymnasts have to abide by and why. First up, braces have to be nude. Injuries are a part and parcel of playing a sport, so much so that there is a whole world of sports injury-related bandages out there. A brace, typically made of leather or Velcro, is a modern alternative for athletic wrap-style bandages that can simply be slipped onto an injury. However, the gods of gymnastics have decreed that these helpful devices be nude. Anything other than, say, something black or white results in points being knocked off the scoreboard. This rule is applied for many of the same reasons as the next absurd rule, so let's hop onto it. Next, jewelry and makeup are a big no-no. Who doesn't like looking nice while performing? Well, of course, everybody. Unfortunately for gymnasts, they have to keep it simple. While no jewelry and protective hairstyles lessen the chance of injury and guarantee a safe landing, they are mostly banned because they can be too distracting, a lot like a colored brace. Makeup, on the other hand, is allowed in moderation. Nevertheless, as per the International Gymnastics Federation, FIG's latest rulings, anything too theatrical is prohibited. Another extension of this rule is the no nail polish rule. In simpler terms, no flashy nail jobs if you are participating. Nude nail polishes, like the nude braces, though, are perfectly alright. However, having your appearance policed is not as bad as the next shocking rule. Another rule is keeping your underwear under the wraps. As if they could not get any weirder, rules for being a pro gymnast state that you go commando. While certain types of underwear are permitted, they have to swear an oath of secrecy. Simply a little show of the undies can spell disaster for your overall score. To help gymnasts overcome this embarrassing ordeal, sportswear companies have launched lined leotards. Although there is a little method to this mad rule, that is avoiding wedgies, it presents a huge problem for gymnasts on their period, especially when they have to appear composed no matter what. Now we have being a control freak. Ever noticed how serene gymnasts always appear, despite being 2 folds away from becoming a human pretzel? Believe it or not, training to become a gymnast demands that your body doesn't betray any signs of discomfort. Gymnasts mostly have to showcase unnatural levels of composure to maintain the harmony and rhythm of their routines. Even in the case of an injury, they sometimes have to suck it up to avoid getting marked down. Now imagine putting in all this effort only to be left out of the finals. Next up, only 2 gymnasts from each country. The one rule that ruffles every gymnast's jimmies is the one that allows the top 2 positions to proceed to the Olympic finals from each country. Even though it appears fair, it has hurt the chances of many remarkable athletes. Gabby Douglas, who had been a reigning champion for 4 or more years, was held back in the 2016 Rio Olympics because the top 2 positions were bagged by her countrywomen. Now we have the curse of the curled toes. If you think your school rulebook nitpicks your body language, wait till you hear what athletes have to go through. Yes, something as simple as curling your toes can get you a negative marking. Gymnastics judges are very particular about pointing one's toes during leaps. What happens if you fail to abide by this seemingly tiny rule? Well, it results in a 1/10 deduction every single time. Another similar but even crazier rule demands that gymnasts only spread their legs during dismounting or tumbling to a certain extent. Opening them a little too wide is counted as a form error and can result in a deduction, the same way as bending of knees before landing does. At the end of the day, ungodly precision is what helps gymnasts score a rare perfect 10. Speaking of schools, the rules for child gymnasts are even weirder. Next, endure little accidents. There are days when the human bladder acquires a mind of its own, more so when you have to bend and contort your body every which way. While wetting one's pants may be a huge deal for some children, child gymnasts are taught to ignore any such accidents. Although there are no rules specific to a gymnast's bowel movements, the rules for composure tend to apply just the same. The only thing these poor kids can hope for is that they're not upside down or halfway up in the air while it happens. Up next, the salute is necessary. While a gymnast's pre-routine salute is a display of respect, it also has certain communicative purposes. To elaborate, it marks both the beginning and the ending of a gymnast's routine. Forgetting to do the salute is no small matter, considering it results in a deduction. However, it is very common and understandable for gymnasts to forget to salute with all the pressure and hopes tacked on them. Who knew a simple raising of the arms could have such huge consequences? Sadly, the bad policies do not end here. The next rule seems like a proper offense in connection to other sports. The next rule: pay for a review. If you are just as big on other sports as you are on gymnastics, you may be aware of the act of reviewing. A review is generally taken to see if a player's performance was really at fault. However, unlike in cricket and several other sports, a gymnast cannot simply appeal for one and get it too. Gymnasts, regretfully, have to file a petition and pay to have their scores reviewed. Knowing how the smallest bump can change their fate, most gymnasts have to give in to these insane requirements. Fortunately, there is a positive side too. That is, if the judges truly misjudged your performance, you will get back every single one of your dimes. On the downside, if they find nothing wrong with the scores, you can kiss your hard-earned money, anything between $100 to $1,000, goodbye. Talk about thievery, right? Next, we have the no contact rule. If you've ever been to a soccer game, you might have noticed how noisy it is there. The coaches are often heard barking orders at the team. In most sports, what goes on at the sidelines of the court is just as important as what takes place on the court. However, this is something you won't notice at a gymnastics event, especially the shouting coaches bit. This is because of a rule that dictates that gymnasts must remain in the zone while they're performing. This rule normally remains in effect till the scores have been corresponded. All in all, gymnasts are entirely on their own from beginning to end. Unbelievably, this crazy no-contact rule extends to their clothes as well. Up next, no touching your clothes. For a group of people who have their every single apparel choice picked at, gymnasts can't really pick at their own clothes. Once they've launched into their routine, they can't fix anything without it reflecting poorly on their scores. To avoid being subjected to the consequences of this nonsensical rule, gymnasts have to get their leotard to fit like a second layer of skin. This reduces the chances of wardrobe malfunctions to a great degree, but can't really make up for how easily and quickly you can prevent things with your own two hands. As far as the leotards are concerned, the gymnasts don't really have full control over them either. They have to meet the endless standards of appropriateness before they can be put on. Some gymnasts also have to model the leotards before their coaches and other team members to see if the judges would say yes to dress or not. The recent controversies surrounding these leotards testify to their being a complete nuisance. But having your clothes picked at does not compare to the final rule on this list on a scale of being absurd to being completely inhuman. Lastly, watch your pauses. Although it might not seem like it, a gymnastics routine can be quite nerve-wracking for the performer. However, scrambled nerves have no place in the cutthroat world of gymnastics. Briefly, you can't stop to shuffle or fumble even in the slightest. This is because of how each delayed movement results in points being taken off of your final score. You literally can't stop to catch your breath. This, together with the thought of keeping your toes pointed, your legs together or ideally far apart, and a trillion other petty things, would give a normal person a nervous breakdown for sure. The bottom line is, gymnastics isn't everyone's cup of tea. There's a reason why only a handful of people go pro out of tens of thousands of gymnasts that try each year. Anyhow, the pros that come with being a gymnast are worth handling a few weird rules for. That's a wrap for this video. Which one of these rules ruffles your feathers the most? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.